A wicked mum who killed her baby girl has been jailed for 19 years. Evil Nicole Blain sobbed in a dock as Judge Lord Scott told her she had shown not a shred of remorse for the violent and brutal murder of your 19-day-old daughter.
Nicole Blain, you've been found guilty of the murder of your 19-day-old daughter, Thea June Wilson, on 14th July 2023, by repeatedly shaking her and repeatedly inflicting blunt force trauma on her. Due to brutal violence at the hand of you, her own mother, baby Thea suffered 3 separate fractures to 3 different areas of her skull, extensive bleeding in her eyes, injury to and in the areas surrounding her brain, and fractures of 2 of her ribs. Despite what you have continued to say, what happened was no accident. It could not have been caused by a fall or being dropped once. Despite your persistent attempts to suggest it, what was done to your child was done not by her older sister, who was nearly 3 years old, but by you, the main person responsible for the care of baby Thea. Rather than love, protection and nurture, what Thea received from you was catastrophic, deadly violence.
The monster mum was caged for life this week after causing baby girl Thea Wilson catastrophic injuries in a brutal attack in July 2023 after admitting she was unable to cope. And outside court, her brother Christopher Feeney gave this reaction.
It's been hard, but 19 years, I don't think it's enough. I think she's in trouble. I think she's out of 30 at least. She got an innocent way, and it really affected me for 3 years now.
The conniving mum had denied murder, instead blaming the tot's death on a 2-year-old who had also been in the Greenock flat at the time. But in TikTok footage unearthed by the Scottish Sun, Callous Blain can be seen at a gender reveal party months before Thea's birth, popping a balloon with a large sharp knife to reveal pink confetti. Seemingly furious at the outcome of the reveal, Blain storms out of the room, flipping her middle finger to the camera. And in other callous clips, the monster mum later bleated about missing the baby she murdered and pleaded for donations for her funeral, telling followers, "I will be able to learn to live with this." Blain tried to rally support in TikToks posted days after she killed 19-year-old Thea and begged for cash to hire a horse and carriage for a tiny coffin. She lied the tot's death was an unexpected tragedy, despite a post-mortem revealing catastrophic injuries, including broken ribs and 3 skull fractures. Attention-seeking Blain lip-synced to singer and Love Islander Wes Nelson's track Forever in one clip, including the lyrics, "In the next life I hope you'll have me, I just want to wake up next to you." In the now deleted vids, Blain said, "This is an unexpected tragedy which has happened. Losing my wee lassie is the worst thing I have been through in my life. I really don't see light at the end of this tunnel for me." Blain also uploaded images of her cuddling tragic Thea and others nuzzling her clothing and a stuffed lamb toy. In a 13-second video, she's seen lying on top of a pink knitted blanket and matching teddies, claiming she was sleeping with Thea's stuff to go in her coffin. And in another TikTok, she discusses a lot of rumours about the baby's death and tells viewers, "I'm her mother, I was there, I know what happened, I don't need to explain what happened." During a week-long trial at the High Court in Glasgow, jurors heard tiny Thea had suffered car crash injuries, including whiplash, after being shaken and having her head bashed off a hard surface at least 3 times. The tot suffered 3 skull fractures, bleeding in her eyes, brain damage, a bleed in her spinal canal and 2 broken ribs after the attack, and died on the 14th of July 2023. Despite Blain insisting a toddler had accidentally dropped the baby, causing the injuries, various medics gave evidence saying it was very, very unlikely a toddler would be capable of inflicting those injuries. Dr. Srinivas Anaparavu examined the child's injuries and said her skull fractures were consistent with having her head hit off a hard floor, wall or furniture at least 3 separate times. He added this is almost equal to injury sustained from a road traffic accident or something with that kind of high velocity impact. But wicked Blain insisted the toddler had killed Thea, even telling a social worker, "I don't know how I'll forgive the child." The court was also told in the days leading up to helpless Thea's death, Blain had sent text messages to the child's grandmother, Laura Wilson, saying she couldn't cope and their head's a mess and was scared Thea is going to die. Blain claimed she had gone for a nap on the afternoon of the 14th of July after putting Thea into her bedside me crib and woke up after hearing her neighbour at the door looking to borrow some salt. She claims the toddler, who was also in the house at the time, had pulled the baby out of the crib, removed 2 blankets and a nappy, fatally injured her and left her laying in the bedroom doorway. Blain insisted she slept through the toddler's attack, saying she only woke up when she heard the door knock. She said she then got up and walked past her injured baby, who was laying naked on the floor in the doorway. The sick mum said she answered the door before coming back in the room, again walking past the baby on the floor to check the crib, and only then did she realise the child had been removed. Prosecutor Alan Cameron KC said Thea sustained some very serious injuries, including fractures to her skull, damage to her brain, bleeding in her eyes, and however that came to be inflicted upon her, you never woke up until someone knocked at your front door. Blain replied, yes. Blain claims she just assumed the toddler had dropped the baby, causing the injuries because there was only us in the house at the time. But Mr Cameron told Blain she had lost her temper and assaulted your baby before throwing the other child under the bus. He said you realised you were in a lot of trouble. Throwing that child under the bus was your only option to blame the child for what you had done. Sobbing in the dock, Blain said, no, you are very wrong. Asked how she managed to not notice the child laying injured at the bedroom door despite walking right past her twice, she said, I had just woke up, I was in a daze. But jurors rejected her lies and found her guilty following a harrowing 7-day trial. Lord Scott imposed a life sentence on the killer mum as she returned to the High Court. The judge told Blain, despite what you have continued to say, what happened was no accident. It could not have been caused by a fall or by being dropped, despite persistent attempts to suggest it, but by you, the main person responsible for the care of baby Tia. Rather than love, protect and nurture her, what Tia received from you was catastrophic, deadly violence. What the jury decided beyond reasonable doubt was that in an act that was intentional or wickedly reckless, you murdered a tiny, defenceless baby. With a hint of premeditation, you did this having previously suggested that you were worried what would happen to Tia, mentioning also the other child being rough. A large group of women were in court, mainly due to the attention the case got on both mainstream and social media. One yelled at an emotionless Blain as she was led back to the cells, while outside court many gathered to let off balloons in Tia's memory.
3, 2, 1.
These former friends of Nicole gave this reaction to the sentence.
Could have been higher. I was hoping it was in the 20s. However, 19 years behind bars and having to admit what you've done before you get out. A small bit of justice is not enough. She won't admit it, but it's small, but not enough. It's something. And took the seriousness into consideration as well.
Blain was placed under suicide watch in prison and has been segregated from other lags for her own protection. Sources say the mum is a target on her back from inmates who treat baby killers like beasts after the vile crime shocked Scotland.